What is up, guys? I am back. We're going to do another 2 round mock draft today. It's post combine. Free agency is starting on Wednesday. It's currently Saturday, I believe. Yeah, Saturday. But we've already had some trades, teams cutting players, so a lot's changed. So we're going to do another 2 round mock draft. Should be a blast. You know, we're not going to do any trades because that's too hard to account for in the NFL draft. But hey, we're gonna have fun regardless, ain't that right? So let's go ahead. No need to keep you waiting any longer. Go ahead and hop right into it right here. Make myself a little bigger for y'all, and let's hop right into it. Yeah, 2 rounds, all 32 teams. We're using my because PFF. You have to pay for it. I'm broke. I'm not paying for PFF. I get one mock draft today, so I'm using my one mock draft for today for you guys. So if you appreciate that, I would appreciate a like, a sub, a comment. Let me know what you think about your team's mock draft down below. Go ahead, enter. Alrighty. Yeah. Start draft. I don't know why I kind of blanked out right there. I was looking. I was like, what's going on here? All right, Tennessee. Looks like they're probably going to trade with either the Browns or the Giants coming up to get Cam Ward, but no trades in this mock draft. In Tennessee, I think if they were drafting today, I think they go Abdul Carter. They released Harold Landry. Um, you know, Travis Hunter's a great player, but I think Abdul Carter is equally a great player at a more valuable position, edge rusher. So, I think they take Abdul Carter here and they love it. But the Browns on this hand right here, Cam Ward. Cam Ward will be going to the Browns or the Giants. Mark my words. Good quarterback prospect. Not the greatest quarterback prospect in the world. Big upside though. I'm not making the comp to Josh Allen, but he's Josh Allen in the fact that if his potential hits, he can be a huge superstar. Um, if I had to give Cam Ward a comp, well, here, let's just do this. Every pick, I'll give them a comp, all right? Abdul Carter, it's not because he went to Penn State. It's not because he wears number 11. He is Micah Parsons, but 20 pounds heavier. So, yeah, he's sick. Cam Ward, if I had to give Cam Ward a comp, he doesn't run a ton. He runs when he needs to. Maybe a less athletic Jalen Hurts. Less athletic, bigger arm Jalen Hurts, maybe. I like that. Travis Hunter, you are a New York Giant. Say hello to the Big Apple for everybody. Travis Hunter, unbelievable. Now, I play a lot of fantasy football, and for the sickos out there, that's the best ball tournaments. They start in February, and they start in January, actually. So people have been drafting fantasy teams before the combine, before the draft. It's interesting to hear how many teams think he's a wide receiver. Some teams think he's going to play 80% of the snaps at wide receiver and then play DB sometimes. Other teams, I thought it was going to be everyone thought he was a DB. He plays receiver. He gets bubble screens, play action, deep shots for him, schemed up touches on offense. But apparently, from what people are saying at the combine, some teams have it the other way. So it'll be intriguing to see how he's used. Either way, great player. There is no comp for him. Okay, we've never seen a player go both ways in the NFL if he does that. So, pick number 4, the Patriots. You'd love for something funky to happen to get Travis Hunter to 4, but probably not gonna happen. But after these three prospects, it seems like the NFL isn't sold. This is a different tier for the NFL. Me personally, I think there's guys in here that are really good. I think there's players in here that are really good, and they're not on the level of Abdul Carter and Travis Hunter, but pretty dang close. But all right, I just don't see if you're the Mel Kiper talks about Tet McMillan dropping to the 20s. I just don't see how that's possible. 6'5", smooth route runner, good hands. People comp him to Mike Evans. He's not Mike Evans. If anything, he's probably, and people use the Drake London just because he's tall. But like, I see Larry Fitzgerald is what I see. I see like a Larry Fitzgerald, Anquan Bolden type of receiver right here. Both played for the Cardinals, so I don't know where that's. Arizona, maybe. I don't know. Maybe some correlation there. I'm just kidding. But yeah, it's like with no trades, it's like I don't know who you're taking. You can take Armand Membu, who I think's good. He's raw, but he's athletic and he's talented. But he's a little raw, but I think he's really good. You can take Mason Graham, but apparently the NFL isn't fond of him having short arms. It's like, who cares? Dude's an athletic freak at 3-tech. His technique's great. Hand usage is great. So here at the Patriots, tougher pick. I think you just go Tet, though. Again, Larry Fitzgerald is my upside case for Tet. Jags on the clock. Now, they've talked about their new head coach Liam Cohen, new GM. They've talked about upgrading the front O&D line. And with the NFL seemingly not loving Mason Graham, I'm going to give them Armand Membu, tackle or guard out of Missouri. He's a little shorter, 6'3", little tad bit short of arms, but athletic freak. I like it. He's a little raw on his technique, on his punches, but he leans a little bit into his punches. But overall, like, mean player, athletic freak. I think he's a really good offensive lineman. He goes to the Jags. You can figure out to play him at guard or at tackle. That's up to you. Raiders, just massive steal trading for, a third-round pick for Geno Smith. Massive steal. Like, I can't tell you how much of a massive, like, the quarterbacks that are free agents and in this draft outside of Cam Ward are all question marks. Trading a third-round pick for Geno Smith, who's a top 15 quarterback in the league, yeah, that's sick. So you got that figured out. I think you can take the best player available here, and Ashton Jeanty is just screaming at me. Like, that offense is kind of sick. Bowers, Jeanty, that O-line's pretty solid. Geno, maybe get a receiver outside of Jacoby Myers, but I think you go Jeanty here. Jets. What are they going to do at quarterback? What are they going to do at quarterback? I don't know. But you're not taking a quarterback here. And your O-line, you've put resources into your O-line, and they've played well, Drafted the tackle last year. You drafted Elijah Vera Tucker. Your center, his name is blanking me, Joe Tippmann. Drafted him in the second or third round. Can't remember exactly. But you know, really, your offensive line's played well. I mean, you can take Will Campbell here. I personally don't like Will Campbell, so you might see him fall in this. But I'm not going to take Will Campbell. So I'm sitting here with the Jets, and I'm like, Aaron Glenn, probably a defensive guy. Aaron Glenn is a defensive guy, but the pick is probably defensive. Your D line's played pretty solid the past couple of years. Oh man, matter of fact, timeout. Go get you another playmaker. Let's go. Let's go with Tyler Warren, VA guy, played at Atlee, right outside of Richmond. Now you have Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, and Tyler Warren, and a solid offensive line. I like that. All right, I think the Panthers sprint this pick in with Mason Graham. I think he's a sick. I've been slacking on the comps. All right, Armand Membu is Tyler Smith, the guard from the Cowboys, in my opinion. Little raw, has guard tackle flexibility. Like Tyler Smith plays on the left side of our offensive line. He plays guard and can play tackle. Membu's the same exact thing. Little raw on the right side. He can play guard or tackle. Genty, I think he's just a bigger Maurice Jones-Drew, which is scary because Maurice Jones-Drew was sick. Tyler Warren, people, because of his clunky running style, have comped him to Gronkowski. I'm not saying he's going to be Gronkowski, but that's the style he plays like. Mason Graham, athletic, up the field, 3-tech. Powerful hands, good feet. No, I want a power 3 technique. Who would be a power 3 technique for Mason Graham? Mason Graham's comp is probably Geno Atkins. Solid player. Saints on the board at 9. You need everything. Kellen Moore coming in here. He knows what it takes to win a Super Bowl. Just did it with the Eagles. Terrible roster, like the worst roster. Offensive coach. I think I did this for them last time, but I don't care. Ooh. All right, I'm not taking them yet. I think Josh Simmons just makes too much sense for them. I really do. It is way too bright outside. I think Josh Simmons just makes way too much sense. I really do. I mean, athletic freak, the quickest feet in the tackle class by far. Coming off a knee injury, but if it wasn't for this knee injury, like, we're talking he could be after Abdul and Travis. Yeah, I think I did this last time for them, but it just makes too much sense. Like, let him come back from the knee injury. You suck. Like, there's no need for him to be starting immediately. Bears on the clock. They took care of great trades, by the way. Great trades from Ben Johnson and crew in Chicago. Oh, Josh Simmons. I'd go Laramie Tunsil. That'd be my comp for Josh Simmons. Bears. Ben Johnson. You took care of your interior offensive line with these past. Joe Thuney for a 4th-round pick. Insane. All right. I don't think you have to go O-line here now. if I'm the Bears, I can kind of go. If you're the Bears, you love for Genty to make it to you. But, Genty doesn't make it to you. I think Ben Johnson's going to want to get his offense rolling. But I don't see anybody for them to... I don't see anything for them. I really don't. Maybe this is where Shamar Stewart, athletic freak, comes off the board. 6'6", weighed in at like 275 at the combine, but his raw athletic score, relative athletic score was insane. I don't see that type of guy getting out of the top 10, honestly. Shamar Stewart. Ben Johnson goes and gets his Aiden Hutchinson. All right. 49ers would have loved that pick. They're also looking for offensive line help. In real life, this is probably Will Campbell. I'm not taking Will Campbell. I think he's mediocre at best. Will Johnson, concerns he's still not healthy. I took him here last time because I think cornerback is a sneaky need for them. I don't think that's happening anymore. You know what? I don't like Mykel Williams. He's no Shamar Stewart. He's really no different than Shamar Stewart. But Shamar just looks like he has a pass rushing plan. Mykel Williams looks lost pass rushing. He really does. He looks lost. Shamar Stewart, I forgot, give him a comp. My comp for him would probably be... Welcome back. A little bit of technical difficulties, but after about an hour, I figured it out. Don't worry, we are resuming the program. So, back into it. I had the 49ers. I have Shamar Stewart going up here. I'm kind of going more for a predictive mock draft. I guess I don't like Will Campbell personally, but I think he doesn't go any further than this in the real NFL draft. And the 49ers can use offensive line help, so they take Will Campbell. I don't like Will Campbell. I don't think he bends well. I don't think he plays with a lot of game strength. His feet are fine. Punching is fine. Let me be clear when I say this. When I say I don't like him, people are talking about him in the top 10. I would have him as like a late first round, second round type of player. So obviously, great football player. He's going to be drafted highly. I'm not saying he's a bad football player. I just don't think he's as good as everyone else thinks. If I gave Will Campbell a comp, it is probably Will Campbell. Will Campbell Tackle needs to get stronger, has good feet, has good hands, doesn't bend very well. Here's an upside case. David Bakhtiari. Think like if he turns into who people think he is, he's David Bakhtiari. So I think that's pretty. My Cowboys are on the clock. All right, we get here. We're kind of wiped as a Cowboys fan. You're kind of hoping Tet, Genty, or Membu are there. They all go 4, 5, and 6. So Mason Graham would be awesome at 12. We're kind of wiped out here. I have a first round grade on Luther Burden. I have a first round grade on Jihad Campbell. You know, everyone talks about Jalen Walker. Jihad Campbell is what people think Jalen Walker is. He's a better version. And I have a first round grade on Emeka Ibuka, but I have Burden over him. So really, I like Jahdae Barron a lot. I have first round grade on Jahdae Barron as well. But for the Cowboys, I think this comes down to Jihad Campbell and Luther Burden for me personally. Now, if we were doing trades, we could obviously trade out of here. But we're going to go with Luther Burden III. A very explosive yak, like bubble screens, jet sweeps, great athlete, also a deep threat as well. If I had to give him a comp, here's a fun one. Maybe the Percy Harvin comp. It's pretty fun in my opinion. Got tired out of nowhere. All right, Dolphins on the clock. They need offensive line help. And, you know, Mike McDaniels does a great job scheming up his running game. They like to have those athletic linemen on the wide zone, mid zone, whatever you want to call it. You know, taking a bucket step, getting your backhand to the center of the defensive lineman's chest plate, and driving them vertically upfield. And I think Kelvin Banks Jr. fits that perfectly. I think he's a guard. Me personally would play him at guard, but I mean, if you want to play him at tackle, play him at tackle. My comp for Kelvin Banks, he's a slow-footed tackle, but he's slow-footed, but it's smooth footwork, if that makes sense. Like doesn't have bad footwork. It's just slow-footed, sturdy, punches well. The only thing bad about him I can say is his feet are slow, but they're not bad. They're just slow. I personally will play him at guard, but I don't mind him playing at tackle. If I had to give him a comp, who would be a good Kelvin Banks Jr. comp? Maybe at tackle, maybe like a Deion Dawkins at tackle. At guard, maybe you're looking at like Trey Smith. So yeah. All right, Colts on the board. Tyler Warren's not here. What will they ever do? I'll tell you what they can do. The Colts can use a safety. And I think there's a new safety one. Nick, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that last name, killed the combine, all right? 6'3", 230, and put up an insane RAS score. Now, would I take Malachi Starks over him? Yes. I think Malachi Starks is an unbelievable player. But I think people are gonna like be blown away by this dude's combine and say we have to have him, you know? I think he's a good player, an athletic freak, big dude, tackles well, covers tight ends well, covers slot receivers well. Good player. If I had to give him a comp, it's probably who's a bigger safety that covered well. He's not. No, I was thinking Cam Chancellor, but he's not the physical presence that Cam Chancellor was. Maybe maybe like if Isaiah Simmons was actually good, like a good Isaiah Simmons. That's my comp for him. Good Isaiah Simmons. All right, Falcons on the clock. I feel like the Mikael Williams train probably ends here. And I don't think he's that great of a player, but good against the run, just athletic freak. So he's definitely like a good prospect. It's just the pass rush is not there. No pass rush plan, no. And for such a freak athlete, he's not twitchy. Like he doesn't get off the ball well, nor does he flip his hips very well. But yeah, good run defender. Hopefully, you're hoping that athleticism turns into pass rush for you. Cardinals. Last time I had them going Luther Burden, I believe, but D line is a big priority for them. I just There's no D linemen that I believe are worth a top 16 selection right here. I mean, Cardinals. Maybe they go. I mean, you can use a lot of different things if you're the Cardinals. But I think let's just go ahead and look at the Cardinals. Cardinals roster or depth chart, excuse me. Cardinals depth chart. I mean, it's leaving a lot to be desired. Like it's not a great roster, you know. Me personally, I don't think there's a better player on the board than Jade Barron, so I'm gonna go with Jade Barron. I see a lot of Trent McDuffie with Jade Barron, except I think McDuffie was better in man. I think Jade is more of a physical tackler than Trent. Bengals just gave Trey Hendrickson the opportunity to get a trade. So D line really a need there. Defense in general, but so is offensive line. Um, and like I said, I don't think I guess you can justify taking one of these edges here. I think James Pierce Jr. is probably the pick here. Good pass rusher, good athlete, not great against the run. If I had to give him a comp, it's probably like James Pierce. He's lengthy, gets off the ball well. He reminds me of oh, what's his name? Oh, I'm blanking on his name. Oh my goodness, what is his name? For the 49ers defensive end, not Bosa. Um, no, now we gotta look up the 49ers. Cause now I'm blanking. Leonard Floyd. He reminds me of Leonard Floyd. That would be his comp for me. All right, Seahawks. I mean, you're tanking, right? You don't have Geno. You're about to trade DK. Man, man, you're just kind of tanking. I don't know what the plan is here. I mean, maybe you get like Sam Darnold in free agency, but like JSN, Kenneth Walker, and Charles Cross are really the only good things happening on your offense right now. The defense can use some work as well. I thought, new coach coming in for the defense, thought he did really well. Um, like, can you pass on a player like Malachi Starks to pick 18? I don't think you can. Malachi Starks is a really just a good football player. For a team that doesn't have any direction, you're just taking football players right now. All right, Tampa Bay. You brought back the linebacker for 1 year. You can go edge rusher here, or I think you go Jahad Campbell. I think Jahad Campbell is a really good football player, and you know, Jahad Campbell to me, he fits the run well. He rushes the passer well, and he drops into his zone coverage and gets hands on balls. If I had to give him a comp, it reminds me of what's his Jahad Campbell to me. It's funny because he's going to the Bucks. It's like when Devin White, but if he was good, like a good Devin White, and it's just funny because he's going to the Bucks. Broncos on the board, pick 20. You know, everyone and their mom has Colston Loveland going here, and I don't hate it. I honestly don't. I like Colston Loveland's got good hands, smooth route runner. Not the best blocker, but who cares? You know what? Let's go Colston Loveland here. I know every mock draft you see Colston Loveland, Tyler Eifert would be the comp for me. Smooth route runner, good hands, nothing crazy, but just solid tight end, man. Like the Broncos can just use solid weapons on offense. Steelers, I think it's Shedeur time. And I think this is the range where it's acceptable to go Shedeur. You know? Like, sign Justin Fields for a year. Let him, or a couple years maybe. Let Shedeur sit and learn for until Justin Fields you decide that isn't your quarterback. Which, I mean, Justin Fields in all likelihood isn't your franchise quarterback. But if he turns out to be, who cares? Like it's a 21st overall pick. It's not like a top 5 pick. I think Shedeur is the range where you can start actually thinking about Shedeur. The Shedeur talk up here, like starting with the Raiders, like I thought that was nonsense. That's that's bad. That's very bad. Chargers. Man, would it be fun to give Omarion Hampton to the Chargers? It would be fun. Because they could just really use a running back, man. Like, Harbaugh, the OC, they're just run it down your throat type of dudes, and they don't have anybody back there. J.K. Dobbins was good for them this year, but, that was luck that he stayed healthy for as long as he did. He ended up getting hurt again. We're going to go. The Chargers, they also released Bosa. And they can use a wide receiver as well and a tight end. But I think Omarion Hampton's a really good football player. I think Omarion Hampton is and I don't want to say this disrespectfully, but he's like a Walmart brand of David Johnson. Catches the ball smooth runner, just big, sees the holes, just a good football player. Some dudes are just football players. He just is a football player. Packers. Is there a receiver on the board? Yeah, I think Matthew Golden probably goes here. Ran a 4.29. They're looking for somebody to be the one over there. And, he's a good football player, solid. Runs the 4.29 the 40. Matthew Golden, if I had to give him a comp, it's probably a guy that can win inside and outside. Fast, good route runner, good hands, not crazy after the catch. Matthew Golden. I'm going to go Terry McLaurin as his comp. I think Terry's a good comp. He's probably a little faster, but I think it's a good comp. Yeah, Vikings need a running back. They also need offensive line. And I think one of the dudes, now he'll play guard in the NFL. But man, Donovan Jackson really impressed me when I was watching his film. Really impressed me. Good mover, solid on solid balance on contact. Good hands, feet are good leverage. Just a technical, solid offensive lineman that can move well. And nothing is better than just having a dude there that you just know is just going to be solid for the next 10 years. He's nothing flashy. It's just good offensive line play. The knee bend, the footwork, the play strength, everything is just good. Everything's good. And he played tackle for them this year because Simmons got hurt. So he has flexibility as well if you want it. I don't think he's a tackle in the NFL. But, he didn't play terrible. All right, Texans, you just traded for Christian Kirk as your wide receiver 2/3. So, that's pretty good. 7th round pick. Gives CJ all the weapons. That offensive line isn't bad. They haven't played up to... that offensive line, let me say this. They've put resources into that offensive line. They haven't played up to their potential. But... I think, best player on the board here... Best player on the board here is probably just Emeka Egbuka. Take him, take Kirk, and take Nico, and give Stroud 3 really good wide receivers. LA. I really want to give them an offensive tackle here. But can you pass up on Will Johnson? You did sign your tackle. That defensive line, I don't think you can pass up on Will Johnson here. And the Ravens, I've been slacking on the comps. Shadur is a he's Geno. A Marion Hampton Golden. Donovan Jackson, okay. Donovan Jackson is who's a good mover inside? Just a good mover, solid. I'm gonna go Zion Johnson from the Chargers. I think that's a good comp for him, and he was a first round pick as well, right in this range. So, Emeka, I think Emeka, and it has nothing. I promise you, it has nothing to do with the jersey. It's just JSN, and they played together, but I think their games are so similar. Will Johnson, not the best man corner in the world, but man, his cover two palms, really good at that. Really good at cover two and palms. And I'd go Trevon Diggs. He jumps routes. Not the best man corner in the world, but good athlete. Questions about how fast he is, but I mean, who cares? He's a good football player, dude. Ravens. Ravens, Ravens, Ravens. Ronnie Stanley probably returns, and if I had to guess, oh my bad, I've been. Let me change that. Ronnie Stanley probably returns if I had to guess. That defense, the DBs were bad. The DBs were so bad. Trey Amos is a really good player. So is Siobhan Ravel. Ravel is a freak. Like, Ravel is an absolute freak. Benjamin Morrison, that hip is starting to get scary. Amos is just good. But I don't think Mike Green makes it further than this. Fantastic edge rusher. Everything you want in a pass rusher, he has. If I had to give him a comp, it's probably Frank Clark. Good defensive end, just, solid. Lions, you just have to get better, like, everywhere on the defense, honestly. And I think this guy plays linebacker for you, and he also rushes the passer on pass rushing downs. I think Jalen Walker, great fit for that Dan Campbell defense right there. Washington, you'd love a receiver here. There's really none available that you love at this pick. That offensive line could use work. That defense can also use work. I think Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn loves those long DBs. Man, he's going to have a hard time passing on Siobhan Ravel. Coming off the ACL, great athlete, great player. Buffalo, man, what, like, at this point you're drafting to beat Kansas City. You just can't get over the Kansas City hump. And man, they're man, like there's nothing here that I love that just screams, this is how we're gonna beat Kansas City. No. Um. Trey Amos is what's coming to mind because your secondary was just so bad in the playoff game last year. Kenneth Grant. Kenneth Grant helps you a lot. But honestly, like the way you're, I don't know, dude. This is a tough spot. I think you go Kenneth Grant here. Just get better up front in the trenches, you know? Just stop the run better. Great run stuffer. At like 6'3", 340. Yeah. You're just taking an offensive tackle. Like you traded Joe Tooney, you franchise Smith, Trey Smith. Kingsley did not work out for you. Now maybe he improves over the offseason, but I think Josh Connerly, just in my opinion, is the second best tackle in this class behind Josh Simmons. He's got great feet, moves well. It's just you just don't get around him in pass pro, you know? You know what I'm saying? Eagles, I think you're replacing just D line depth that you're losing to free agency. Um, and what a better player to replace Milton Williams than with Walter Nolan. Browns, first pick. Browns, first pick. Cam Ward is a Cleveland Brown. Now, what do we do to help out Cam Ward? We have already, you know, let's give Cam Ward. I don't know, dude. Well, okay. You just spent the second overall pick on Cam Ward. If he doesn't pan out, it doesn't matter what you do anyway. So make his life easy. Go get you a running back. I think I think Quinshon Judkins deserves this pick after his combine. You know, I saw the athletic numbers compare, and they were just doing this because they're both Ohio State running backs. He was more athletic than Ezekiel Elliott when he came out, who went fourth overall. And Quinshon is a good running back, so I think this pick is totally worth Quinshon Judkins. Giants. Now, if we were doing trades, I think the Giants are likely to, if they don't get Ward, I think they're likely to trade up into the first round to take Jackson Dart. But no trades. They get him in the second round. The reason why you trade up is one, you don't want anybody else to trade up to get him. Two, the fifth year option on a quarterback because, you know, cheap quarterbacks are how you win Super Bowls. They just are. So, yeah. Tennessee Titans picked Abdul Carter. Now, we're assuming they're signing a free agent quarterback to bridge the gap. But this, Like, if we're taking Abdul Carter, we're assuming they get a Sam Darnold or something. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you run it back with Mayo Man. Elite ball knowledge. Anybody who knows the Mayo Man. But, yeah, I mean, your offensive line, you spent 2 first-round picks on it the last 2 years. They've both played pretty well, considering the circumstances on that offense. You take Abdul Carter. You know, I think Xavier Watts is just Xavier Watts or Trey Amos. Ooh. Okay, well, you're just a bad team. You're just a bad team. But you do have the corner from Kansas City. And, but, I think Watts is the type of player that bad teams take and just, like, you feel like that's a leader in your locker room. He just seems like Notre Dame produces leaders. Watts is a very good football player. Armand Membu. All right. I'm probably thinking the Jaguars. I think the Jaguars could use corner. But is that a pick that Liam Cohen's gonna make in his first draft? He went and got. You know what? I think the Nick Scorton fall stops here. I don't even like Nick Scorton, but they talked about beefing up the front, the trenches. That's how you win. That's what they believe in. They went and get an O lineman and a D lineman. Raiders went Ashton Jeanty in the first round. Or Geno Smith's our quarterback. Let's keep building this offense. Let's look up the Raiders depth chart. Raiders depth chart. Let's see what what they're working with. I'm not too familiar. I mean, they need a receiver. They could use a receiver. They could use a corner. Doesn't really matter. The Raiders, they just love their fast freaks at receiver. And they always make surprising picks. I think Jalen Noel could go this high, honestly. You know what? Jalen Noel is going this high. Patriots, we went Tet. We got to fix this O-line. We have got to fix up this O-line for Drake May. And, whether it's Patriot, you can play him at guard or at center, but I think he's just the best available offensive lineman. That's Gray Zabel. North Dakota State, don't care. Dude's a freak. Dude is an absolute freak. Chicago Bears. We picked Shamar Stewart in the first round. Shamar Stewart in the first round. Running back. Ooh, hey, I know what I'm doing. Travion Henderson, you are Ben Johnson's Jahmyr Gibbs. And they're right back up into a pick anyway. Saints, we went Josh Simmons. they could use a receiver too, man. But like, I don't know, dude. Like, there's just better players at different positions than receiver. But Kellen's coming in. He's an offensive guy, and he's like, you know what? I want to start building my offense. And I think Alec Ayamanor is kind of what Kellen looks for. 6'2", 210. This is his AJ Brown. Had a really good day at the combine. Not Jets, excuse me, Bears back on the clock. And, they went defensive end, they went running back. I think they go with D tackle because Ben Johnson comes from Detroit where he knows trenches win football games. Go get you a defensive tackle while you're at it, too. Derek Harmon, great player. Great player. Pass rushing one technique. Gets up the field. Good hand usage. Nothing bad I can say about him. New York Jets, who do we pick? We picked Tyler Warren at pick 7. All right. All right, so our offense is getting set for whoever comes in here eventually, to be quarterback. And we're a bad football team right now, honestly. What's the Jets depth chart looking like? Jets depth chart. You know, let's just fix this D line. One tech, put him next to Quinnen Williams. I think this dude's a really good football player. So good against the run. VA, stand up. Tyleik Williams, you're a Jet. All right. 49ers. We went with Will Campbell. Oh, and this is exactly where Donovan Ezeruku goes. They got their O-line. Get your defensive end opposite of Bosa. Get back to that good 49ers defense that you had, especially with Saleh coming over. This dude is a pass rush freak. Now, he's small, so you probably don't want to play him on rundowns, but man, his cross chop, unbelievable. And the Cowboys, we have a D-line surge go right before us, which sucks as a Cowboys fan. You know? All right. We're sitting here, Cowboys. We picked Luther Burden in the first round. Running backs, Caleb Johnson would be the only one I'd consider here in the second round. We'll see what else is available. Tyler Booker is a guard I would definitely consider. Corner, Trey Amos. Oh, goodness. Trey Amos is a really good football player. No linebackers. All right, it's down to Booker and Amos for me. And I think Amos is a really good football player. But man, shoring up your O line is just, you can never go wrong, man. Tyler Booker, Tyler Smith, Cooper Beebe being your three interior. Those are three strong dudes in the middle. Tyler Booker, not a good athlete, but man, his technique is so good. His hands are good. And kind of like I was saying earlier with Kelvin Banks, his feet are slow, but they're not bad. They're just slow. Like, he is good technically. They're just not twitched up. But man, he is nasty in the run game. He's more of a gap scheme, down blocking man. You know, he's not. You're not really running stretch or wide zone with this dude. But the Cowboys' mo isn't really stretch, but hmm. Now that I'm thinking about it, Arizona's O line coach came over to the Cowboys, and they ran a lot of counter. They pull their guards a lot, and he's not the best puller. So I don't know if the Cowboys would do Tyler Booker. I love Tyler Booker. You know what? F what the Cowboys would do. I'm taking Tyler Booker. Colts. They took a safety. Is there a tight end here for them? There is. I think Mason Taylor is a great player. Kind of reminds me of Jason Witten a little bit. Just always open. Not the best athlete in the world, just always open. Good hands, always open. They went Mike Hill. All right, this is where Amos comes off the board. In my humble opinion, at least. Trey Amos, sticky man coverage corner, long, I think fantastic. Cardinals. They went Jahdae Barron. I think TJ Sanders is probably the pick here. Get you a defensive lineman. And just shore up that D line. Have a good just get a good defense for once for Kyler. He's working the O line can use some work for sure, but he's working with Marv, Trey McBride. TJ Sanders is a 3 tech. He's explosive. He has good hips. Gets up the field. TJ Sanders, very good football player. Kelvin Banks Jr. for the Miami Dolphins in the first round. And then your secondary could use some youth. You're not re-signing Javon Holland. Jalen Ramsey is getting older. We fixed up the O-line. Maybe a little Kevin Winston Jr. here. I wouldn't mind it. Kevin Winston Jr., great athlete, twitched up athlete, playing back there at safety, reap the benefits. That's all I can say. Bengals. Here, we went with James Pierce Jr. in the first round. Let's see if we can find ourselves an offensive guard. Bengals. What's the Bengals defensive back situation look like? Bengals defensive back. I mean, yeah, your guards need some work. But okay, so your secondary, we can hold off a little bit. Let's Wyatt Millum. I think he's good and like a athletic. He's an athletic offensive lineman. Lacks power sometimes. Doesn't bend as great as you would want. But I think he's just solid, man. Like solid feet, solid. The punch. The punch is inconsistent, but when it's good, it's good. Seahawks. We went Malachi Starks. You're sitting here and you're probably trying to go, let's just shore up this defense. We're going to suck on offense anyway, you know? And man, Princely, not even going to try it. Good edge rusher out of Mississippi. And the Bucks are probably pissed at you because they're like, man, we need an edge rusher. And we're going to go get them an edge rusher. All right. All right. Edge rusher. I think Kyle Kennard's the best edge rusher of this group, honestly. Denver Broncos went with Colston Loveland. Now, I think this is a great fit for this wide receiver because they have Courtland Sutton, who's a bigger dude, but he's getting older. Contract expires after this next season. And then all the receivers are smaller dudes. And Jack Besh, big dude, used to play, converted from tight end to receiver. Led LSU his freshman season and had more targets than some pretty notable LSU receivers at tight end. Goes to TCU. He's a big blocking receiver that catches the ball well. He reminds me of a slower, bigger Puka Nakua. Just plays the game the right way. Jack Besh, welcome to the squad. Welcome to Denver, brother. Shadur. All right, you're sitting here. Shadur's your pick. How do you make Shadur's life easier? All right. How do you make Shadur's life easier? The O line's pretty solid. Najee's probably not coming back. Caleb Johnson makes Shadur's life easier. Chargers. Omarion Hampton was the pick. All right. Now, we could hit receiver. Not a receiver here I really think is worthy. We could hit tight end. Maybe Elijah Arroyo in this spot. But we can always hit, you know. I know they need D tackle help. Now the question is, does Darius Alexander or Omar Norman Lott go first? I love Omar Norman Lott. Talk about powerful hands as a three technique. Man, I've seen him take on his initial blocker, feel the double team coming from this side, flip his hips into the double team, and just anchor out this arm right here. I think Omar Norman Lott's a phenomenal football player, and I think the Chargers would love to have him at D tackle. Green Bay Packers. What do we go? We went Matthew Golden in the first. Oh, and they're just like slobbering over themselves to have a Maxwell Harrison, Benjamin Norris, or Azra Thomas available right here. And Darian Porter as well. Like, there's some good corners in this class. Maxwell is more of a slot guy. He's a little. I mean, he's not 6'1", 186. What did Maxwell Harrison weigh in at? Maxwell Harrison. NFL draft. What did he weigh in at, and what was his height? What was his measurements? I don't like he yeah, ran a 4.28 40. Does he give me 5'11", 180? So he can play on the outside as well. I think they go Maxwell Harrison. Great player. You're probably losing Jair Alexander. You know, Maxwell, I will say, he's a risk taker. He loves picks. He's fast. He's athletic. He thinks he can get every ball. So he's got a little Trevon Diggs to him in that sense. But if I had to give him a comp, it's probably here's a good one. He plays a lot like Terrence Newman. All right, Buffalo Bills. Who do we pick in the first round? Kenneth Grant. All right. Kenneth Grant. So we're shoring up that defensive line. Let's go get us a corner. And man, I'm gonna say since Benjamin Morrison has fell this far, that hip is not healthy. We're gonna go Ezra Thomas, and what a this dude could end up being one of the better players from this draft class. Young, athletic, looks has only been playing corner for a couple of years. He was a receiver. Man, if he continues to grow, he's a physical press man corner. If he continues to grow, could be sick. Texans, we went Emeka Ibuka. Now, is there any way to get this offensive line shored up at all? You know, I think he's a really good. I think he can play tackle or guard, and I think he's solid. We're going Ayante Ursary. He was a guy who I thought was a guard because he had slow feet, and then he came out to the Senior Bowl, and his feet looked amazing. So it's like, I don't know, maybe he was playing injured. I don't know. Big dude, big powerful dude. And you know what sold me on him? They played Penn State, and he held his own against Abdul Carter. I think the Texans are ecstatic to get Ayante Ursary here. And they aren't like, you might be saying, well, Jason, why did you take Wyatt Milam? Because I think the Bengals, and the Texans are a gap scheme. Gap scheme is like down blocking. You're looking for more powerful football players. The Bengals, they run a lot of like zone. So inside zone or outside zone, you're looking for more agile offensive linemen that can move in space, and that's why I mill them. So like even though I might think one player is better than the other, scheme definitely impacts what these teams do. All right, we went Mason Graham and we have to get Bryce Young some help. We have to get Bryce Young some help. And I think, just get him a playmaker. Just get him a dude, get the ball in his hands. Let's go make a play. Savion Williams is a 6'3" Deebo Samuel. He's not the best receiver. He's fast. He's big. He runs like a running back. The Panthers can use somebody like that. Just go make a play. Throw him a bubble screen. Throw him a slant. Throw him a go ball. You're not expecting him to do technique receiver things. Ravens. We went Mike Green. Let's sure up this secondary. I said Benjamin Morrison, that hip, but if he's here at the back of the second round because of that hip, You take that chance. You really do. Lions, we went Jalen Walker. Is there, man, Jalen Walker. Is there a DB here? Oh, yeah, we're taking Darian Porter. DBs are going off the board right here. Washington, we went with Siobhan Ravel. We would just let Jonathan Allen go. Let's keep upgrading. Debo is going to be our upgraded receiver because at this point in the draft, you could argue Jaden Higgins for sure. Let's go ahead and continue upgrading this defense though, and letting Jonathan Allen go. Darius Alexander, older prospect out of Toledo, powerful dude, man. He's kind of sawed off a little bit, like 6'3", 300, and just like a tree trunk. Bills. Now, I do think this is where Jaden Higgins goes because, man, they just need something explosive at receiver. Give him anything. Chiefs, we went offensive tackle. Chris Jones is not going to play forever. And I think if anybody is going to teach Deion Walker how to live up to his full potential, it's Chris Jones. Because Chris Jones was Deion Walker before. Just 6'7" freak of an athlete playing defensive line. That's what Deion Walker, he's lazy, but he's 6'7", 360 and moves like, he moves better than I ever moved, and I'm not 6'7", 360. So, I think that's a solid. Just get that D line going, because you're solid everywhere else, really. Eagles, I hate you. I hate your fans. You're the worst people to walk this planet. But I got to give credit where credit's due. You have the best roster in the NFL. We could look at, yeah. I think we're going Andrew Makuba, safety, good player. Just keep making that young secondary even better. You're losing Slay, but who cares, You're losing Slay, but that young secondary is awesome. But yeah, that wraps up this 2-round mock draft. I appreciate you guys for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe if you're ever so kind enough to. And hopefully I drafted what you wanted for your team. And let me know if I didn't. Let me know how much of an idiot I am in the comments. Appreciate you guys. I'm out.